And you just listened to a young girl who was saying that the Nigerian community here is totally very angry. It covers all those aspects affecting the various regions of our people. Beth was the Ijaw country of the Niger Delta of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He went to several schools. His major academic genesis was at Government College, Ujeli.
Go gather, destroy their food. With the camp and that other camp, some more camp, you don't compensate everybody.
In its key generation sometimes. Today our focus will be on the style of J.P. Clark, a poet and writer, and we shall also be very interested in his poem Akbar Dancer.
Some lives are meaningful, some are empty. There are lives that are eventful, with too much meaning and riches to offer humankind. Long after some of these earthly adventures are no more, one can still find footprints of these great lives on the pavements of our contemporary lives.
Good evening, you're welcome to the program Green Planet.
We invite you to chop them up and send them to Tony Blair at 10 Downing Street as a symbol of broken promises of debt, aid and trade. Dig out your white bands, send them to Tony Blair. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Today,
hello.
Welcome to People, Places and Events. What are you doing here?
Well, we're here today to mark White Band Day 4, which is a big event to encourage people to think about debt, aid and trade. We feel that the governments of the G8 let down the people when they promised to increase the aid that was given, so they promised that to reduce the debt and encourage a good aid with some of the poorer nations of the world. Well, those promises were all broken, and none of those things have been really dealt with the way they should be. So today we were chopping up white bands. A few years ago they were giving out these white bands, Make Poverty History, 2005. Well, it's 2006, nothing has moved, and in fact there's more people in poverty today than there was a year ago. So we've been chopping them up and we're sending them to Tony Blair in protest of the broken promises that he made along with the other G8 leaders.
So why do you think he didn't meet up with the promises?
I think because the G8 nations are there to stay in power. They like being the 8 leaders of the world, and I think ultimately they lack the vision to create a more equal world. They're quite happy with the unequal situation that we've got, and particularly on trade. Trade is the big opener. Most African and Asian nations cannot trade fairly with the West. There's so many subsidies in the West, and they're reluctant to get rid of their advantage. But we're working on it, and we're encouraging them to do the best they can, and we'll just keep putting as much pressure as we can.
What about the fact that they link this underdevelopment in Africa due to bad regimes and all that?
Well, a lot of those bad regimes we've happily supported along the way, and a lot of those bad regimes we've given advice for. We've trained their ministers, they've come to Bradford University to do their studies, and we have a responsibility. It's not like there are bad nations there and it's their fault. We are helping keeping some of the poorest nations impoverished, and we've got a duty to make some of the changes here.
You are a synergy of about how many organizations?
Well, we've come together from Christian Aid, a group called Oxfam, a group called Make Poverty History Bradford. So we're a coalition of organisations involved in development issues in Bradford.
And what should be your last words then?
My last words are, we have to work harder and try harder to make this world a fairer place. Do whatever you can, where you can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, you've said it all, haven't you?
Oh no, after you, Alice.
Why are you here?
We're basically here to symbolise the broken promises of the G8 leaders. We're trying to make a demonstration to make sure the emphasis on making poverty history continues and that no one loses the impetus that we gathered last year.
Do you have the resources for that?
Do we have them? Hopefully all we need is our passion to try and stop this stuff going on, and I think the only ability we need is to try and pressure our leaders into really believing that the country wants to make poverty history.
Do you have something like a synergy with African countries or with organizations in Africa like you?
Us, personally?
Yeah.
No, we don't. We're only a small group. We're a small part of this massive nationwide, worldwide movement. So,
if I may ask you to give a policy statement, 3 minutes, what are you going to say?
I can't. No, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I don't know.
Thank you very much for talking to people, places, and events.
Thank you.
Okay. So we just watched an event in front of the GB Priestley Library at Bradford University, and it was on the White Band Day. And this group of people came here to actually ask their leaders to do much more in terms of poverty alleviation, the reduction of deaths in the third world, especially Africa. And they hope that through such measures, they will be able to channel their voices to the right quarters. It has been Arrey Ivo for people, places, and events. What do you mean?
And you just listened to a young girl who was saying that the Nigerian community here is totally very angry. It covers all those aspects affecting the various techniques of our team.
Rev was the Ijo country of the Niger Delta of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He went to several schools. His major academic genesis was at the government college, Ujeli. And
go gather, destroy their food. With the camp and that other camp, the Songo camp, you don't compensate everybody.
In its key generation sometimes. Today our focus will be on the style of J.P. Clark, a poet and writer, and we shall also be very interested in his poem Akbar Dancer.
Some lives are meaningful, some are empty. There are lives that are eventful, with too much meaning and riches to offer humankind. Long after some of these earthly adventures are no more, one can still find footprints of these great lives on the pavements of our contemporary lives.
Good evening, you're welcome to the program Green Planet.